occupying
Okay.
time and let people
Okay.
know.
Okay.
Okay. We're
Okay.
on.
Let me get it typed in. It's a long string. So I want to go ahead and get that in so I don't forget to get it.
By the way, too,
It's a little clip of what happened when they slipped the HB6 language into the SB7.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's very interesting too, and that I'm sure you can find on the league, the state league website.
Okay, I just redid it and see if that one works. I took out spaces, and so that might make a difference.
Oh, I got there.
Oh, good. Okay.
I did too.
Okay, good. I had a chance to listen to that. I did listen to the one that Julie is referencing, and it was most insightful to hear the questioning, the back and forth, and I appreciated I'd not really seen that before, so I found that very helpful. We kind of, based on the agenda that we planned for today, we were kind of go through the national, kind of a recap and review of our National Day of Action activity that I think we're all still just kind of on a high about, and then look at some of the remaining voting bills that are still out there. Things are kind of in rush mode right now. And so it's fast and furious. And I think, I'm pedaling my tricycle as fast as I can to, keep up. I'm sure as most of you are as well. So it's nice to kind of take a minute to, exhale. And always love the title of that book, Waiting to Exhale. It's so appropriate on many different levels. So that, and then also look at, again, about House redistricting, looking at that. And then what was the fourth thing? Sorry.
I think that's it. Tracking the bills, the voting bills, and what we can do.
Right.
Then I believe this going further with the second Saturday, since there's going to be special sessions and lawsuits, etc.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Appreciate it. That's what a team's about. Okay,
that's right. Thank you.
Let's kind of do a recap of National Day of Action. First of all, I think, what were your impressions? What did we do just brilliantly? And, we have to say that. That's us. It's brilliantly. So, what are your, what worked? What really, really worked?
Having that sign-in table that you moved over there. Having everything set. That was a big deal. We had some very good conversations. We had, we probably could have signed more people in. I had 33 on the sign-in sheets. And that's because I added 3 people that didn't sign, and other people have told me they believe there's more people there. But of the 33, we had 5 non-members, which is good. I plan on following up with them and at least networking with them, and hopefully they'll join the league as well.
That's terrific. That's great, Julie.
I think things like this are what draw people to us and draw in new members when, you can see us actively engaged in the community. So I think that was brilliant. What else?
If you have another affair like this,
Mm-hmm.
have membership forms on the table.
We did, didn't we?
Yes.
We had some, but they were kind of
hidden.
They were there, but not, there where people would see that. But that's a good suggestion, Gloria. Make it more visible.
That's got to be a priority for the next administration is to print new brochures, because I think I only gave you about 5, and I'm not, if I have a couple still around the house that I can give to Parkdale's templates, I just need the board to tell me, go spend some money.
You only got a vote from the treasurer.
Okay, so new, okay, I'm gonna say visible membership forms.
Right. And calling the question on it. I always have to remind myself. You know, we had conversations. I could have said, I could have gone, oh, are you ready to join? And I did not do that. So next event, have
Yes,
the membership forms and call the question on membership, because it was fun. The spirit of it, everybody seemed so happy to be together, and it was so nice.
and I brought a brand new member who'd never been to anything, so
That was awesome.
that's the best way to get them to come back, and be more involved.
You
Yeah,
know, on the membership forms, you could assign one person like a membership desk. And that would really make it stand out, and maybe you could get some more people there.
I didn't understand what, you have a what, Gloria?
If you have another function like this, set up a membership desk with a sign or something.
Okay, okay.
And because that would
Sylvia,
stand out.
the
And
income,
assign a person to stand there and chat people up.
Sylvia's the incoming membership VP, and she'll be here at 10:30.
Oh, good.
Perfect, perfect. So good. We'll make sure that she gets this information as well. Membership desks at events. Okay. What else? What else worked?
Reaching reaching out to other groups. I think partnering helps us get out the message that we're doing it. And when they hear an activity like this, it's something that they can let people know about. I have a couple of additional names, if it's not too late, that I had signed and gave postcards to. Is it too late to add them to your list, or how can I share that with you? Just send you their name. They signed in with all their information.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We want to follow up with those people, and because this will be something that goes forward. That's great.
Okay.
Okay.
It's interesting. I did encourage Anne to send personal invitation emails to LULAC and to, now I've lost it,
NAACP or the Delta?
NAACP and
It's
Delta
Delta
Sigma
Sig.
Delta Sigs too. And so I don't know that any of their members showed up, and she didn't CC me on any email that she sent. So, but again, I think just, reaching out, continuing to reach out is good.
That's real good. Even if they didn't come, at least you put the hand of friendship out there. That was a good idea.
Okay. Anything else on this recap of we did discuss at the executive board meeting that some of the postcards got returned to sender. And that it seemed to be primarily those folks. Sylvia, you want to address this since now that you've just taken a bite, Sylvia.
It's just a cashew. Oh, first of all, I got 3 postcards back because to let people know that I'm a voter and I'm in their district, I put my address on it. 3 of that, we sent 10 because Jim was doing the addresses and I was writing the stuff. So we sent 10 and 3 of them came back. So I took those 3 to the post office and said, it's not supposed to come back to me, it's supposed to go to the politician. And she said, oh, sure, fine. She didn't she didn't charge me an extra 36 cents. So she sent them on. And what she did was she marked out the barcode on the bottom and she put a big TO too, although it said that on the print on the card. couple of days later, I got one of them back again. And they had not only covered the barcode and put the big 2 on it, but they had put one of those sticky tapes over my address. So how it got back to me, I don't know. Somebody, with X-ray vision sent it back to me. So I sent it. So I took it back to her. I said, let's try again. That was to Barbara Canala. That one happened to be to Barbara Canala. So Anyway, keep sending them back. Did anybody else? I think Anel said she got one.
Somebody got one. That was really, I'm so glad I was describing to my husband what happened. I said, and luckily the person who got him back first is a very feisty person and stands up for her rights, and she went to the post office. But I don't know who else went out there. So what I think we should do, what I was going to do after this was, because we do have that sign-in sheet, and Linda, when you provide the ones you have, I'll reach out to them and let them know about the postcard being returned. I haven't gotten any yet, but that was just, it's an amazing report back. I would like to know more what happened. I put my return address on there as well, but I did exactly what you did, from and to. And my lesson learned from that was, if we do another postcard party, go to the post office first and get some tutoring, because I just assumed that we had done all that addressing right. I've been doing it like that for a long time, but has been all the weird changes with post office, and so I don't know if that has something to do with it, but that was a weird, good, bad thing to learn, and we need to reach out to people to see if it happened to them.
I'm wondering about and none of mine came back, but I'm wondering if, I know identification wise, if you only put your zip code or put Corpus Christi resident or something like that, would that not avoid that problem? I think that would be the way to avoid the problem. It still identifies you as a Nueces County resident, or pinpoints your zip code or your actual city that you live in, without maybe confusing the post office reader or whatever they use to sort their mail. I have a feeling something is flagging the sorter, confusing the sorter's eye, which may not be a human.
Right. No, I think so too. That's what they would do on newsletters. So next steps on that is reach out to the people who sent them and give them an update. And then, because we could give them a general update as well, but then also, but before we ever did another postcard party, get a tutorial from the post office, because they'll walk you through it. They've done that with me on mass mailings. They do have a lot of rules, and it's a lot of it because it's automated. So I don't know what the kink was.
Great. I think those are all good ideas to follow through on. Anything else about the National Day of Action? Again, thank you to Debbie for getting it out there. I know she's not here today, but getting it out there on social media. Again, her photos just, sometimes, the proverbial speak louder than words, just to see the people, engaged in that, in that activity. I thought, again, it's so helpful to, the message that we're trying to send to the public and to our members. So if we're kind of recap that, moving forward, we discussed about doing packets, sending them to those of our members who were not present. What are our thoughts on that?
What, you mean to take a bunch of postcards to the next meeting or something?
To actually hand deliver. We know that many of our members still are not getting out very much, and so maybe doing a little goodie bag of stamps and postcards, and also suggested scripts, and could easily be left on their front door. That sort of
I
thing.
think we need to encourage our members to get out more. They're vaccinated, so that to me, and the way we would do that would be to have an in-person meeting.
Well, it definitely was interesting, you know, and I don't disagree with that, Sandra, but I have to be I'm still, after a year, I'm still hesitant to do huge things. And so setting up, you know, I thought that bus, you know, served us well in being in an open outdoor space.
Oh, yeah, that was great. That was
Yeah.
great. And if
Yeah,
we do
everyone loved
more,
it.
if we do more of that, but as a master's degree in public health, I'm telling you guys, get out there. You're protected. You're as protected as you're going to get if you're vaccinated. And you can continue to wear a mask if you want to. I personally only wear it when it's required by the business. But anyway, we can't live this way forever. And I'm a very social person, and I miss everybody.
I don't disagree. I am concerned though, Sandra, about some of our long-time members, and still, you know, unfortunately, we haven't maintained kind of that personal contact with them in this past year, and you know, we don't know. We just don't know in general how they're doing, whether they are just getting out at all because of a change in life circumstances or something like that. And so it might just be, you know, we talked about sending these out, but maybe what we could do is just to reach out
Yeah,
and
I was
say,
just thinking that maybe call. See, I think that a big deal too is that I don't think people are looking at their email very much. And I think a lot of people don't open attachments because they're afraid of being hacked or don't know how or whatever. So I think our idea to get the care packages out was good. But now when you look at the calendar, I have a different take on it. You know, we kind of put it out there. People know it happened. This kind of goes a little back to the debrief, in that one of the positive things was we made a splash, and I don't know if we can kick it any further. Like, and so I feel like maybe we could figure a next activity and try to get people to do it. It could be phone calls. I'm worried about the postcards with that return coming back, and making sure that that doesn't happen to the people we pull in. I would hate to like take a care package and then they get their postcard back. So I was thinking, I wonder, I mean, the phone calls at this point, phone calls are going to make the most difference with anything we have. And if people aren't comfortable with phone calls, of course they can use the league, send the emails, but they've got to feel, if we mail postcards, they're not going to get there for another week, and the redistricting isn't going to go through. And so what we might want to think about is we still have postcards, save the postcards. We still have stamps, buttons. We have, and the national sent us buttons, stickers, and we still have the signs. And so maybe because this I think will pick back up again. Is it August? They did the apportion, how many seats we get. They released the numbers in August, I believe.
I think so. I think that's right.
And so when you think about that calendar, that timeline, what we want to do is put pressure on them again in August. Like, we don't want to let up now, but another postcard mail out in August might be better.
When I spoke to one of the representatives from Chu Hinojosa's office called me and returned my call on another matter. And I mentioned the redistricting, and she said that they were told that they weren't going to do anything till September. So August would be a really good time to start it up again.
When are we going to have our first in-person meeting? Do we have any plan?
Not yet, Sylvia.
Do you plan to have the board retreat as personal, or you want it to be a Zoom?
Um, I personally would like for it to be Zoom, and I will have to tell you this, and so this may change your mind about voting for me, but
What? Oh.
Ah.
Nice.
I'm going to be at a distance again for several months, and so to be able to be used to doing this, doing Zoom virtual meetings, I really appreciate and hope that you will accommodate me in doing this. Now, that doesn't mean that every meeting that we have has to be virtual, but if I'm going to be a part of it, then I will have to do it virtually.
Well, you know, they have a big screen in every room at Del Mar.
Yeah.
Good point.
So we
So
could
that's,
just
you
get
know,
that screen down and have the Zoom attendees and the in-person attendees all together.
that's a good point,
Yeah.
Sandra. So I'm going to make a note of that. And so
Anel,
I
can
don't,
you do that? Anel, can you do that where Kathy could be off on a boat somewhere and lead the meeting and we could be over at Del Mar?
I believe so. They
I think that would work.
Right.
they have a setup there where in the past I know they've used those computers that they have in the
Yeah.
room, and it goes up on the screen, so I don't see why not.
Yeah, I think you can. We've been doing our library board meetings hybrid, half and half. Some people, you know, it's not, and for some, it also has turned into a matter of good I would say convenience, but if some of our members live on the island, it's easier for them to jump on than to drive downtown to La Retama. So hybrid
That's
meetings
true.
work, and I would not worry about it, Catherine. You're doing great. We're never going back to normal. We have to get used to new things. There's a weird variant floating around here right now in Corpus that we have to be aware of, some Nigerian variant of interest. So,
The vaccine is effective against all the variants so far.
So far, right. Well,
yeah.
I know in my membership, I have been mostly not here. And I don't want to, my husband was a professor, engineering professor at Texas Tech for 33 years. And at periods during that tenure, they called him the stealth professor. And that's not a good thing. Well, for students, they think it's not a good thing. For him, it was survival mode. So I don't want to be thought of as the stealth president.
I think, and Linda will be out of town. It's okay. We can all do everything virtually. And if we want to get together, I agree. There's other options. And one of the things I think people liked about Bus, and I know I did, it was we got to see each other and just build relationships. You know, we talked about building relationships with organizations, but we can have those personal ones too. So we can always have like a social hour at Bus. It's open, and who can come just so we could visit each other.
Let me
Some
ask
people
this.
just like to do that.
Yeah, let me ask this. Did any of you observe at Bus, were there people who were coming to Bus who were curious about what we were doing, and did we engage them?
I know 2 young ladies walked up.
Yeah.
Sandra or somebody who was at the table, it might have been you, Julie, but gave them membership information and talked to them at length. And
She lived on the island. She had just moved to town. You know, there's a slew of new people here too. Like Debbie had been teaching us when they were doing new real estate companies. She was getting our voter registration cards put in there. So, yeah,
Awesome. Awesome.
people were interested. I think it looked like we were having fun, and it looked like a good group. They were like, "Who are those people?"
That makes
Well,
me
that's,
think
go
did we
ahead.
has the league ever done something as aggressive as leaving pamphlets at real estate offices for when if a realtor sometimes people are new to a community and they would really appreciate, like I used to be when I was moving quite often, is there a newcomers club, is there a women's club, and I'm just wondering if that's ever been done where you literally ask them to let people new to the community know about us.
To my knowledge, no. And my knowledge only goes back about 16 years.
Did
That's something
we,
to think about.
did we not, who are the members who are or were realtors? Can you recall?
I just remember
Well,
Debbie
Sue
and Raul.
Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
Sue
was?
Williams she was the president of the Realtors Association.
So see, I think this has come up before, Sandra, and it may have been via Sue. We need to ask her and see
Okay.
if we have done that. But anyway, that's kind of getting off of our
Yeah.
topic. But
Well,
good idea, and
mhm.
I think we can address that. For some silly reason, I just keep thinking we may have done that before, and it may have been Sue or
Oh,
someone else,
okay.
or we discussed it. But anyway, she would be a good contact person because of her experience to see about that.
Okay,
Okay.
so what I think is going to help us the most then at this point in time, it's outreach. We're talking about that, and phone calls to the legislature. And there's a slew of, there's of course the redistricting, but it's the update on that too, I believe, is that opportunity to hear that bill, to have a hearing, which I believe was 3112. Yeah. The Redistricting Transparency Act, it needed to go through a hearing, and Monday, May the 10th is the deadline, and they're not moving on it. So that's going to be a dead fish in the water. So we should talk to them about voting. What I learned also from the redistricting campaign so far is that having a record is going to be very important in these lawsuits that are going to come down the pipeline, which Catherine, one of the reasons to watch that meeting is to see how they question this Briscoe Kane. There's some Democrats up there, particularly Jessica Gonzalez, she is absolutely amazing, just as a person. I think when you see her ask him questions, those are the questions that are going to be those are the things that are going to be challenged in court. And so she's really literally getting it on the record. And if we call, we will be doing the same too. And so that's just something to think about. There's other things though that we got through the email today.
There was a letter, there was a note in terms of not redistricting, but also on voting. Grace Shamin sent a lovely, a kind of, I don't want to say closure, but the news and the statement, the public statement that she released and the Texas League released. And so if you didn't get a copy
Yes,
of that, please let us know, and we will send you the link to that. We'll forward that email. So if you didn't get it, tell me, and we'll get that out. But again, just well past it. I think, is this time to kind of move on to the next deal we were talking about? Since we're talking about voting, Julie, as you brought up, I've gone through, and we know that Senate Bill 7 or /6 is probably going to be subject to litigation, and so we need to really look at what some of the other voter suppression bills are still out there. And there's still, things like Senate bill. I'm looking primarily at Senate bills right now. I mean, there's, there are pages and pages of these bills that have been put out there. There's the Senate Bill 331 that relates to the eligibility to serve as an interpreter at an election. That's, still, it's still out there. It may just be out there. There's also, there's Senate Bill 1018, and that's about early voting ballot, receiving that by mail. It restricts early voting by mail, having the applicant request the ballot in person and placing limitations on the county clerk. And again, there's that Senate Bill 1112.
Now we're on voting. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Sandra.
I know it's Sylvia.
Oh, Sylvia. Oh, Sylvia. I see Sandra. Sylvia, excuse me. I'm reading the name.
No, we're both trying to. Yeah, I think we're both in it. We're here.
Yeah, you're both in the picture now. Okay. So the one that's really kind of horrific, their State Bill 1112 would allow a voter to appoint a representative to sign for them, but failure to do so would result in a criminal offense. That's scary.
No, the Texas Disabilities Group has done a lot speaking up on that, and it violates their rights to have to disclose
and so a lot
what's
of the
matter with them.
Right. So these are still, they're still floating out there. Whether or not any action will be taken on them between now and the end of the session, we don't know. But there's still, so there's a great number of them. And if you will go to, the State Ledge site, you can look up those bills that are still out there, both in the Senate, and they have categories. So voting, you can actually look at elections and voting, and look at several topics under elections. And I think there's like 7 or 8, I can't remember. And you can find the bills that are still listed out there. There's the one about recording a voting system with a paper trail, or produce that you as a voter would have to produce a paper receipt for verification. It put us a lot on the Secretary of State, puts it in there, the central control of this, about verifying citizenship, that sort of thing. Verifying the accuracy of applications.
That's current. That's nothing new.
So take a look at those. There's a short period of time in terms of which to contact, but still continue to, as Julie says, make those calls. Respond to those action alerts. One of the ones that, I'm going to go back to Senate Bill 7, House Bill 67, is with our voter registrars and the ones that pertain to them. And that, since we are a volunteer organization, and also have many of our members, several of our members who serve as election judges. It's just a little concerning that they could be at risk, more at risk than what they have been in the past if some of these watchers are, and it's not clear that, I don't know, Sandra, you may know more than this. Are poll watchers trained? Do they have to receive training?
Yes.
Okay. And so they have to be certified by the county clerk, or?
No, the party.
They're
trained by the party.
Trained by the party. Okay. And so they have no accountability outside of the party, okay. The other one that, and it's not exactly related, but it kind of is, I'm really concerned about the unlicensed carry, that again, in terms of our voter registrars, our poll workers, that concerns me. So anyway, those are just my personal things. So looking out, checking out, seeing what they're doing. We're really in the House, the House version that was passed on early Friday. We did see some changes, and one of those was that there had been a ban on the drive-through voting and the early voting schedules, and so that the committee backed off on those. And so I feel really good about that. So and I haven't had a chance. I want to go back and look at that bill and see what other things they took out in moving forward for these last several days. Other thoughts on the these voting bills? Any ones that you've looked at or you're following in particular? Sylvia.
Present.
Unmute, Sylvia.
Shoot, there's Sylvia.
Sylvia Whitworth.
So sorry.
Jim's talking in the other ear. I just got recertified as a DVR last month, but I have heard that could be some sort of criminal charges if you make a mistake or something. Is that still in one of those bills? And will you bring me cigarettes in jail?
You don't smoke.
No.
I'll bring you a Coke. Maybe a little rum.
Hey.
I don't know in particular, but something that I wanted to find out in reading through this legislation, what's up there, and but yeah, there's
Really?
there are some bills, if not in that particular bill, and others that are listed in that long list. And so, Sally, yeah.
I have a very responsive Republican representative here in my neighborhood. His name is Lyle Larson. And I sent him through the online House website for all of the legislators. I sent him a message about House Bill 6 and Senate Bill 7. I got a really good response from him. Now, he didn't tell me how he was going to vote, but he was very explicit in saying that he had serious concerns about the constitutionality of many parts of those two bills. So the first point being that our representatives are not so busy that they can't respond. And I think that we need to hold Todd Hunter, who's also a Republican. There's opportunity here for diverse opinions on this.
It's not it's not a partisan issue. It's a voter.
But the point I want to make is that from a nonpartisan standpoint, there are politicians on both sides of the issue, Sandra. And we have a representative here who's demonstrated an ability to properly respond, to be responsive to our inquiries about those two voter suppression bills. My impression is, because I kind of pressed this through Ann, please try to communicate with Hunter to see what his position is on those two bills. Now, if other Republicans or even Democrats can give a response, why can't Hunter? Now, that's the first point.
That's a good point.
The second one is, and I have been trying to keep up with this through the Texas Trib, as I'm sure everybody else is. But even though Senate Bill 7 and House Bill 6 have been consolidated, the procedure is such that we still don't know at the last minute changes could come to both of those bills or that consolidation that we have no idea of right now. So until the sausage is made and cooked, we don't know what it's going to look like. But all the concerns that have been expressed here today, especially those from Catherine about unlicensed carry, I can see shootouts at the polls here in Texas. I think it's very dangerous. But until that bill is finally comes out of committee and is sent to the governor to be signed, we're not going to know what it looks like. And I think that we should only anticipate the worst. End of comment.
No, that's important. Thank you, Sally. We've got 23 days left until the end of the session. And you are correct. Lyle Larson voted against the bill. He joined the Democrats. The final vote was 78-64. He opposed the bill. Todd Hunter voted for it. So we got 23 days. That's what I'm saying. These phone calls, we've got to call his office or his staffer. That's the only thing to do. If he's not going to respond to postcards or to emails, Abel Herrera voted against the bills as well. So that's what I know on that. Now, about the VDR, there's a perfect thing to call the office for and say, hey, what's going on with the deputy registrars? What's in the bills? And maybe engage him on that.
Well, can I jump into, can I just say, has the local league asked for an actual meeting with our representative Todd Hunter? Has that happened? Yes. And when was that last meeting?
We asked on last Friday after the postcard party, and then I followed up on Monday, and I've heard nothing back from either communications.
And who else has made that outreach? I mean, there's some of us in the league that have a very good relationship with Representative Hunter, and I'm wondering if these women are here. And
yeah, well, I don't know. I have no relationship with them, and so I think that was maybe a part. People were just going, oh, the program person. I have no problem with people reaching out to him. It is a little dangerous thing in that I do think he should respond.
I agree.
Yeah. And if it takes finding the person he responds to, that's not very. It's good that he responds, but that's really not good either.
That's true.
Debbie Noble is what's the word I'm looking for, Catherine?
Debbie, this is Ann, and Debbie said she would get back to Todd as well. And I did send an email asking for information, and nothing came back. I know he's very busy, but we're hearing about results of votes today, and that I hadn't seen. But anyway, if you wanting to know if we've contacted them, I did write to their office again and ask him, and got nothing back. And when we spoke at the board meeting, Debbie said she would get back to him as well. Yes.
May I say that you could contact his office and ask when he's available for a Zoom meeting with this group, because if you got him on a Zoom meeting, because I've been with the retired teachers, I sat in on several Zoom meetings with different representatives at their time of convenience. And if you would get him to agree to a Zoom meeting at his time of convenience, and then make sure that you have a good person there with the right questions to ask, with everybody responding, you might get more. Because that way
those are great suggestions, and we had heard that from some other folks. That's what's so beautiful about having an organization, and that's what we followed. We reached out to him and said we could do it at his convenience. I did say that we have second Saturday, so that if it made it easier to schedule, that would be an option. But by all means, at your convenience, because we know you're busy. And we have not heard anything. And the questions are, Catherine has prepared some questions, and she would be asking the questions, which I think would be very good too. So,
great.
So now it's just for me, we have an assessment to go. Maybe he'll call, maybe he won't. It's going to be late in the game now.
This is the second Saturday before the session's over. Yeah.
So good point, Sandra. So what comes next?
Catherine, I think you should go ahead and make that contact and see. You could have a special second Saturday, or you could have a communication line with the people who are attending second Saturdays, so they all get to participate and hear the answers if he is willing to do a call. But I think this is, Julie already has some inroads made there, and I, you have my name in there asking for more information about things, and you have yourself, and because you're chair, I think you have all the authority and all the direction. You and Julie as co-chairs can just move directly forward with this as a follow-up. It sounds like this whole group would like you to do that and see if you can get some direct responses, and if you would just step in for, even a 15-minute interview for the second Saturday group. That would be terrific.
Okay. Good suggestion, Ann. I appreciate that. So Julie and I will continue to work collaboratively on making the contact. I do think it's important, for all of us as individuals to contact Todd, but then I also think we need to not work at I don't want to say cross purposes, but make it more complicated about who is contacting him on behalf of the league.
Right, because really the thing is, it's not a person that's contacting him. It is the league.
Right.
And that's what's disturbing about it. That
So-
I don't have any relationship with him. And if that's the reason he doesn't respond back, I didn't go, "This is Julie Rogers." I said, "This is Julie Rogers from the League of Women Voters Corpus Christi." And so that's who you're responding to, not to me. Do let people know how the vote went, I think. And it's good that Lyle Larson's name was brought up. He's a longtime rep as well. He's been up there for a long, long time. And he voted against it. So the last we heard was that Todd was against it. But he needed people to put pressure on him so that he could vote against it. So what is that? You break that down. And so what that means, one way you could look at it is it's our fault for not putting enough pressure on him. Not the league, but voters' fault, that people didn't speak up enough about it. Because for some reason, he felt that it was okay to vote for that voter suppression bill.
It was okay with me and many other voters in the state of Texas. The suppression word is a partisan word, and it's not used by Republicans. Integrity is the word that Republicans use. So here we are making a partisan issue out of it. But the majority of Republicans, of which I'm one, although I'm sitting next to a flaming liberal.
Yes, we can still have a conversation. Go on. Yeah.
So that's why he did it. He thinks he's representing his voters.
Which I, disagree. I mean, but that's why, we are here. That's why, we should stick to the issues and not about partisan or, it is an issue. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it's still an issue and should be answered directly. That's all. And for him to avoid us is just unacceptable.
And further, I would say that it's further unacceptable because we've been very generous with Todd.
Yeah.
We have given
It's
him
unacceptable.
unfettered access to our podium anytime he wanted it.
Yeah.
We've given him preference on Facebook
Yes.
and on our webpage and in our publicity. And I would have just expected him to be much more responsive to the league's inquiries.
Yes.
And
Whether
questions.
he agrees or not, he should at least be responsive. That's all.
And that is not being partisan. That is
Yeah.
being issue orientated on the league's on the part of the league.
Exactly. Yes.
And the fact that he votes one way and a Republican from another area votes a different way, that's not comparing partisanship. That's comparing responses to an issue. And the League of
Right.
Women Voters is very solid in its position on those two bills or that consolidation of those bills. And bringing that up is not partisan. And
Yeah.
reporting on how politicians vote is part of our obligation to our own community to hold our politicians to account. And if
Yes.
we don't do it, we're not living up to our obligations as members of the League of Women Voters.
Yes. Here, here.
Well said. Well said. Thank you. Thank you. This, has been an important conversation. And in order to, because we are a nonpartisan organization, a nonpartisan political organization, and that what we are about are issues. We are about those issues that affect our lives, the well-being of our communities, the well-being and strength of our country. And so to be able to come together in a group like this to have these discussions is so important. It's so important.
I would like to say that the League of Women Voters mission and my mission are perfectly aligned. Not all the positions held by the League of Women Voters are perfectly aligned with Sandra.
Sure.
So I am happy to write postcards, make telephone calls, anything on redistricting, no problem. When it comes to the voter, Senate and House Bills 6 and 7, I am simply silent as far as my representatives are concerned, because I don't want, they know I'm in the league. I don't want to go and cause a problem. So this is zipped. But here among you all, I need to remind you that we are nonpartisan. That's all.
We are nonpartisan, but we are political, Sandra. And there's
I understand that.
difference. There's a big difference. We are political.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, and I am political. So when I personally have a disagreement with the position of the league, I don't say anything. Except here in this group. Okay.
I think that's important to be able to feel like that in this group that you can voice different opinions. And that, if we weren't able to do that, then I think that is undermining what the organization is about, is that we are, there are issues about which, whatever your political affiliation is, that you have strong opinions about. And that the league does take, we expect it to take a position, and it may or may not be every time something with which we agree. But to have the openness to be able to have these conversations, I think is one of the strengths of the league. And so appreciate all of you for being willing to have those conversations and to understand how important they are to who we are.
And I believe that's what the league has always stood for, which is, when we do studies, that's why we do studies. We don't just say we stand on a certain issue. We actually take a deep dive. It takes a long time for the league members to finally decide on an issue. And the league has already made a decision on the voter suppression and on the redistricting. Whether, my friend here next to me agrees or not, this is democracy and this is where we stand. So as a whole, I think, like she said, she did do her part, which is the
redistricting.
The voter, just at least doing what needs to be done to move the league's position. This is what we're talking about, the league, not me personally, but the league. So I just want to, just reassure that, and I think, we're all friends here, that this is what the whole thing is about, which is having difference of opinion here and still being able to work together. So anyway, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Thank all of you.
Yeah.
Catherine?
Yes, ma'am.
Just before you close, I want to speak to what Linda was suggesting about realtors. I don't want
Okay.
to I don't want to get you off track, but just
Okay.
before you adjourn, may I speak?
Yeah, I know we're running over time, and let me just cover one more thing, and then I would love for you to do that.
Great.
Where do we go from here? This is the last scheduled, we said the 4 second Saturdays during this legislative session, but we do know that there will be a special session. What is your preference? Do you want to continue through the summer until that special session starts?
I think we
Yes.
need to
Stay
keep an eye on them.
engaged? Okay. So, all right, then we will continue this.
Good.
Second Saturdays,
Yeah,
June,
that'd be good.
July,
Let's-
August, September.
Yeah,
Yes.
part keeping
Yeah.
that eye on them. We've got people we could visit here. So maybe, they're going to come home. They
This is
don't
gonna
just stay up in Austin. Before a special session, they're going to be here for a little while. And so maybe we could visit Lozano, Herrero, Hunter, Hinojosa, put a delegation together from this second Saturdays and whoever else wants to do that.
I think
Great.
that would be lovely to have that. So one of the things in looking forward, one of the things that I was looking at doing was keeping it local. And so we do know that down the road, Nueces County and the city of Corpus Christi are going to be addressing those. And I think I reported this the last time. A recap of what we did, contacting them and getting, finding out. Rebecca Huerta sent us, what the process was going to be. She for the city, and then I spoke with Tyner Little, who is the Nueces County Commissioner's Court manager, and spoke briefly with him over the phone. And I would like to invite him to join one of our meetings between now and when it gets hot and heavy for county, the Nueces County redistricting effort. So do you want to wait until later in the fall? You want to do that this summer? What are your preferences? Sally?
When you do that, Catherine, would you consider asking the city's counterpart, who is the manager for governmental affairs?
Mm-hmm.
She will be the one who will know and probably help scope the lawyer consultant's contract with the city for the city's lawyers consultants who will be advising the city on its redistricting position. So she's the counterpart of Tyner Little on that issue.
Sure. So let me ask this question. Do you want to do them both at the same time, or do you want, since we are, we're running over, but we limit this to an hour, would you rather do them one at a time so that they get the full hour to speak with us? What are your thoughts?
It might be interesting to see them both perform together, to see where they overlap, and they may even have questions for one another.
Well, if I understand correctly, by statute, the city has to use the county's
right.
The county's numbers and the county's system on redistricting. So,
but however, the city has interest to be protected.
Right.
And it's the issues that go into that redistricting, even though the city has to use the county's numbers or the numbers that come down.
Okay.
It's the issues that we're interested in that are going to define and how the perception of communities of interest affect the outcome. And it would be interesting if we could get the city and its representatives, or whoever is going to represent it from a legal standpoint, if they were willing to share with us the city's perspective on that. I think it would be educational.
Agree.
So both of them the same meeting?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, will do.
Yeah.
So again, do you want to do this pretty soon, like next month, or towards the end of the summer?
I would,
next month sounds great to me.
I think we ought to wait until those numbers come out, because the consultants aren't going to be able
Keep
to
waiting.
give a lot of feedback to their clients until those numbers are out.
Okay.
Sally
The only
has,
question I would have is, a time, when those numbers come out, they're going to be at fast and furious at work on it. So if we caught them just before.
What I would say is feel them out on it, Catherine. And I
Okay.
think the main question would be, are they available and are they willing to do it?
Sure, of course,
Regardless of
always.
what time, if we can just get them to the table, that's an accomplishment.
Right, right. Good point. Okay, I will make that call and those calls and see and get back with you on a date. Any other things?
yes.
Are we ready for Ann to speak? Yeah, go ahead, Ann. Sorry.
I wanted to come back to what Linda was asking, and and if we had realtors in the organization. Now, isn't Victoria a realtor, and isn't
She is. Yeah. Yes, she is. Victoria Rogers.
Victoria Rogers, and she resigned her board position because she was so busy with her real estate business, as I recall. Anyway, she would have a list of all the members of the realtor community and could contribute in that way, as well as taking a step herself to support what Linda's talking about. So I just wanted us to be aware of that.
Are we losing people? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ann.
Okay. Great job, great conversation. It's a terrific meeting, and thanks for letting it run over a little bit.
Thank you, Teresa. Hi, I'm so glad you joined in. We are just kind of wrapping up here. Any question for us?
No, I'm sorry, I had another meeting this morning, so
I
I just got
understand.
off that meeting.
Just basically, we are opting to continue second Saturdays, even though we had started this with the idea that it would be for the 4 second Saturdays during the legislative session. So we are going to continue until we get through the redistricting in particular. So any other thoughts before questions before we come to a close?
No, somebody might want to write a letter to the editor. We've gotten 3 published. And I don't think Catherine mentioned, you might have seen, but she made a great video about voting that went on the league Facebook, the state league. So that was good. But if we can just keep it visible out there. And I read, maybe Sally shared the article with me about how redistricting is just boring and people don't want to be involved with it. So, write letters to the editor and make redistricting jazzy somehow.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, well, I got to get off and go call Todd. So if y'all are getting ready to call Todd, the line will be busy.
More power to you. Thanks so much. And we will see you. Let me look at my calendar. Next second Saturday will be June the 12th. Okay.
I'll go put it on my calendar right now.
All right, same here. All right, see you then, and thanks again. Thank you for the thoughtful, engaged conversation today. Many thank
thank
you.
y'all.
Thank you,
That was
Catherine.
great.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And oh, by the way, Teresa, this is being recorded, and you can ask Anel for the link.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you, Anel. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Thanks
Bye,
again,
everybody.
everyone. Bye-bye.
It's good to see your faces. Bye.
Yes, bye.
Bye.
Bye, Catherine. Bye, Sally.
Bye-bye.
Catherine,
Yes, ma'am.
before you leave, when do you actually leave on your trip?
It's not firm.
Okay.
It's not firm, but I'm
Okay.
really looking at asking that, setting the date for the board retreat for the 3rd Saturday in June. I don't know. We've got second Saturday on the 12th, so obviously I don't want to overlap with that. The 5th, I mean, I would love to do it on the 5th. I just don't know if that's going to be, if I'm going to be if I'm going to be in port at the time
Um,
we can do internet stuff. I can, I'll know, but tentatively, I'm looking at the 19th as the board retreat.
okay, that's better for me. I'm would like to not be available on the 5th
Okay,
as
well,
well.
thank you for sharing that, and I
Yeah.
will. That kind of confirms that probably that's not a good workable date.
I could be there probably in the morning, but not
Yeah,
not the afternoon.
yeah. Well, then I'm going to target, and that's a good piece to, and then get this going and get that sent out pretty
Okay.
quickly.
All
All right,
righty.
thank you as always.
I'm shutting it down, and I'll send you the link.
Okay,
And I'll send it to Teresa as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, bye y'all.